Now back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gastons White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports.
And welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. I'm Dave Gabbard this morning, your co-host, or the host. Me and Greg is taking over the studio for the next hour. Do not attempt to adjust your dials. But now Larry, is a little under the weather this morning. He's lost his voice. And for some reason this week, I can't understand. It's hard for me to think the way that man talks that he'd lose his voice.
But before I moved here, I used to lose my voice at least once every summer.
And
it was crazy. Every summer, at least once, I'd get this horrendous cold, and I'd lose my voice. I couldn't do much of anything. So but, I know how he feels right now.
Yeah, I told him, I'll handle it. Just set back because really sign language and radio doesn't go good together. He keeps hitting his hands on the microphone, and it's kind of irritating to hear the thump. But Ron.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Ron Branaman.
Matt.
How's everything over at Gastons White River Resort?
Everything's going good. We got good water running because the lakes are high, so we're having a lot of anywhere from 4, 5, 6 units sometimes running, trying to lower that lake, but fishing's been great. We're having a lot of brown trout caught on this high water, and they're catching most of them throwing a rogue or a countdown rapala or fishing about a 1/8-ounce jig, catching a lot of fish on quarter-ounce rooster tails and quarter-ounce spoons. So there's a lot of combination of stuff that's working for these bigger fish, and the high water does make for bigger fish. They're a little harder to catch, but they grow quick in this high water. And the fly fishermen can still catch fish drifting on this high water. They're drifting a lot of sandworm worms and egg patterns, some beadhead flies, and they're still doing real good. So if they know what they're doing out here, fishing's still excellent, and plenty of fish in the river. We're still real green. We've had plenty of rain throughout the spring and summer. The grass just will not stop growing. But,
Tell me about it.
The whole country's, I think, the Midwest is like that. So everything's real green and real fresh, and I'd rather have a little too much rain, but I don't want any flooding, but it's better than the drought.
Right, and going into summer now, we're in July.
Right.
And talking about fly fishermen, what type of hatches do you normally have over there?
Well, we get a mayfly hatch mostly and a caddis hatch, and for those guys that like to wade, the North Fork River is pretty close to us too, and they've been having some lower water stages over there, so they could still do some wading in the area, and that's just a short trip from here at the resort. And they eventually will get these lakes pulled down. I don't know how quick it'll be, but fishing's still been excellent, and I look for it to be a good year, and a lot of wildlife on the river they can see. We got a lot of bird life going on. We got turkeys and deer running everywhere around here. And of course, the resort has its own pool for the kids and game room and nature trails. There's plenty to do once they get here.
And you're talking about them generating over. Is a certain time those units kick on? Are they on a set schedule?
They are not on a set schedule, but here lately with Bull Shoals Lake being high and the other lakes above us dumping in, they've almost been running this water around the clock. So we haven't had any kind of low water stages that I would call. It's mostly been anywhere from 3 to 5 units almost around the clock for the last couple of weeks. And I look for that to continue for a while until they get this lake pulled back down to a little more normal stage. But fishing's excellent. You just got to be careful out there on the river. If people come up here, of course, the first time out, we recommend a guide. And if they don't want to do the guide thing, just they need to check with the people here in the office, the dock foremans, and get a lot of good information. And you can still catch fish off the banks. You just got to find out where to go on this higher water and where to fish. But fishing's still excellent, and we look for a good year, and it's been a good year, and a lot of nice browns are being caught.
And of course, on these hot summer days, I think being along the river would probably be pretty pleasant because that water is what?
It's always about 52 degrees.
52 degrees.
Yeah, when you're running up and down the river, even in the summertime, you'll hit some cold patches of air that you always want to take a sweater or a light jacket with you, even in August and September when it's pretty hot out. You'll still have some cool mornings and some cool afternoons.
Do y'all have a problem in the summertime on these warmer days and with them generating that cooler water? A lot of mist or fog early in the morning?
Some days you do. It just kind of depends on that outside temperature. Some mornings we'll have a pretty heavy fog on the river till about 9 or 9:30, and then it'll usually burn off. And then sometimes in the evening, if we have a rain and things cool off a little bit, we'll have a pretty good fog coming in off the river. So we always recommend people don't get out until that fog lifts, and if you're out there on that river and it comes in, get back to the dock and get back to safe grounds until it clears out.
Right. And so tell people how to get in touch.
You bet. For reservations, it's 870-431-5202. We got a nice webpage at www.gastons.com, and they can email us for information at gastons@gastons.com.
Okay, Ron Branaman there at Gastons White River Resort, and we really want to thank you taking time because I know you're busy on the 4th of July.
Appreciate it, and tell Larry to get well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ron calling from over there. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to make it over there.
Me too. I need to get over there really bad.
And, I know Larry always takes a group of, kind of hosts a group of outdoor riders, kind of for a sabbatical over there. He's always asked, he said, why don't you come? Well, I've always had a conflict and stuff, but one of these days, make it over there because it sounds like a beautiful, beautiful place. And Ron talking about, people coming in and hiring a guide. That's one of the new changes here in Tennessee that went into effect on July the 1. Now we are requiring a guide license if you're in the business of taking for any individual that accepts compensation, that you get paid to take another, hunting or fishing or trapping. You're going to be required to possess a guide license. Along with the other required license, and we have both a resident, guide license, and then we'll have a non-resident guide license.
That's great. That's awesome.
And that's another one of the things because I know some people they don't like fees, but we had guides come to the Wildlife Commission meetings, and most of this, they were saying, hey, we would like to have a guide's license, so that we could say that, hey, we're in the business of doing this, we're professionals, and it's kind of I don't know if it's, it's a way that they can, say, hey, they're offering a good service, everything.
I think it's a way for the guides to show the people that are hiring them that they're a reputable person to be taking them around. Plus, it kind of gets all the guides together, and it makes it kind of like a checks and balances system where the guides can, the state can more monitor like the people that are taking people out into the wilderness. So it's not just somebody hiring some guy off a Craigslist or something.
Right.
I know all the trails out at such and such park. well, do you really know the trails out there? Like, it'd make me feel better as being somebody that's still getting used to the outdoors here in Tennessee. That I know of seeing somebody that's actually like a certified licensed guide, that would make me feel better.
And like Ron said, over there and over here, I get a lot of calls in the regional office, mainly about Reelfoot Lake, and from people. From, a lot of times from the northern states, and they've always, Reelfoot Lake just has a reputation, the mystique about it. And they talk about coming down and wanting to fish, and I always ask them, I said, well, have you ever been on the lake before? And they say, no, it's not the first trip. I said, well, my recommendation is to, hire your guide, because Reelfoot is one of those lakes that you just don't take off across, because there's certain boat trails out there, and there's certain fishing holes and stuff and everything, and and the people that have grown up up there, and that have lived all their life on the lake, that guide for some of the resorts up there. You just have a better trip, and it's a lot of times because I tell them, if you don't hire a guide, you're going to come down and you'll probably tear your equipment up, especially your boat and motor, because of all the stumps and everything that's laying under the water that they can't see. So, but that is one of the things that, that has gone into effect July 1, is the guide license. And so maybe, that will generate, fishing and hunting and fishing in Tennessee, generates billions of dollars,
Hopefully.
and for economic impact for this state, so, but I hear music.
Yes.
You hear music? Okay, well, that means you pointed your finger at me, so it's break time, folks, so everybody get up, stretch your legs, go get you another cup of coffee, and join us for the next segment of Outdoors with Larry Ray.